Welcome back to our podcast. I'm the gentleman, accompanied by the disturbed Southern Belle.
Hello.
And in this episode, we will be continuing our cryptids by state with Idaho and Illinois. So, the first on the list is the paddler of Lake Pend Oreille.
Ooh.
And so, the paddler is a creature that is as enigmatic as it is elusive. Sightings date back to the 1940s, which was also a time when the U.S. Navy was conducting secret submarine tests in the deep waters of Lake Pend Oreille.
Uh-huh.
During this time, a group of witnesses report seeing a large unidentified animal breaching the surface of the lake. They state that its massive form cut through the waves with uncanny speed and agility. Initially, the reports were dismissed as just a site of a misidentified military craft, which was a fair assumption given that the Navy was in the area conducting tests. However, as the years passed and the sightings continued to mount up, people began to consider that there was more weight to the sightings than they had originally thought. Which, fair, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, one encounter tells of a young girl that was allegedly attacked by an unknown beast near Sandpoint City Beach in 1997. Or 77, my bad. This chilling incident sent shockwaves throughout the area and prompted local journalists to name the creature the Pend Oreille Paddler.
The paddler.
In 1984, James McLeod, I'm probably butchering that.
McLeod.
It's McLeod.
That sounds like McLeod.
So,
anyway, whatever.
A professor at North Idaho College became intrigued with the mounting stories and evidence surrounding the paddler, so he had decided to mount a full-scale investigation into the creature in hopes of finding out the truth behind it. So, during his investigation, he had found countless stories and information about the creature. They included Native American legends that told of a powerful water spirit and modern reports of a creature that defies explanation. So, one theory he explored was that the creature was originally an abnormally large sturgeon, a theory that went on to gain a lot of traction with some skeptics. So, in spite of his attempts, he could not conclusively establish the existence or non-existence of the paddler, and so it continued to be as elusive as it was before, a specter that evaded the grasp of knowledge and scientific investigation. So, the mystery deepened even further when, in 1985, a teacher named Julie Green reported having an eerie encounter with this evasive beast. She reported that she was out on the lake with some friends on a boat when suddenly a massive wave, which was caused by a gunmetal gray thing, undulating in and out of the water. She claimed that the wave nearly capsized their boat, and this incident left her severely shaken and believed that the paddler was more than just a legend. So, in 2007, the creature again made waves, so to speak, when it made headlines when a photograph surfaces that showed what appeared to be a series of humps rising out of the water. The image was said to have been captured by a local reporter and only added fuel to the fire whether the peddler is real or not. So, interesting creature.
Yeah, it is. It does sound more like if it's something like not like the other ones. Some of them I'm thinking may have been seeing a submarine or something coming out of the water.
A gunmetal gray thing.
Later, when that might not have been the case, it sounds kind of like maybe some kind of fish, the way she said it's undulating, like doing some, I don't know. Maybe a big snake, maybe, I don't know.
This all just reminds me of Nessie.
It's sort of, it's sort of similar-ish. It would be very similar. But yeah, in some of those really big bodies of water, those fish could get huge. So, yeah, God knows how big some of them are. Just normal, regular fish that we know about that just haven't been, discovered how big they can actually get, just because you haven't found one that big yet. But it doesn't mean they can't get that big,
Absolutely not.
So,
after all, scientists are still discovering different species and branches of species.
Exactly, that they didn't even know existed, so sure. It could be anything, who knows? So yeah, that could actually be something. I mean, maybe not exactly what they're describing, but, something.
So, next on the list is the Nimerigar. Said to be located in the rugged mountains and hidden valleys of Ohio, is a race of small, fierce warriors. So, the Nimerigar are legendary little people that have been a fixture of Native American folklore for countless years.
Oh, definitely. We've already covered a few in a few different areas.
Yeah.
That have different personalities. Hawaii had some. I think Delaware had some. They weren't very mean, though, most of them, for the most part. So, we'll see about these, though.
So, their tales have been passed down from generation to generation, as most are, which this is just a testament to their enduring myth and mystery.
That's true.
So, the Shoshone and Bannock tribes, particularly, have a rich history of stories involving the Nimerigar. The ancient tales describe them as being a race of vicious, cannibalistic beings.
Oh, God.
And are said to be no more than 2 to 3 feet tall, or approximately a meter. However, their small stature actually is in direct opposition to their extremely powerful physicality. So, it's said that they wield really tiny bows, which they use to shoot poisoned arrows. And the poison on these arrows is said to be so strong that it can fell even the mightiest of foes,
Good
whatever
grief.
that means.
So I'm guessing they're some strong poison.
I'm assuming large animals, at the very least.
So pretty much anything you probably wanted to, so humans included.
Oh, yeah.
Very easily, so yeah.
So, they're described as having a mouthful of sharp canine-like teeth, which they use to tear into the flesh of their enemies. Or prey, whichever one. So, to make matters worse, they were also said to be extremely aggressive and would often attack humans and other creatures with absolutely no provocation and with no mercy.
Good God, that's terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
To think about a tribe of these little creatures that have these poison bows that can just take you out, just coming at you with these teeth, and they're gonna eat. Oh, God, that's terrifying.
They're evil human Ewoks.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's terrifying to picture.
Imagine how hard it would be to see them, too.
I know. I mean, they're not that tall. And if they were in the trees and stuff, my guess is they're probably camouflaged as well. Because they're probably, used to staying hidden. And they're warriors, so they're not just going to be, hey, here I am. They're going to have some stealthiness to them. Oh, God, that's nightmare-inducing.
So, some legends even say that they would actually go so far as to brutally attack those of their own tribe that have gotten too old or too sick to
contribute, basically, right?
Which is actually a fairly common thing.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
animal
it
kingdom.
was, yeah. I mean, it's sad but true, but yes.
In both human tribes and in animal tribes.
They do, sometimes, yes. It happens.
So, this wouldn't actually be the worst thing as far as it goes. They would actually consume the bodies.
Oh, well, of course they
Which
would.
is what leads to the cannibalism.
Of course, because, you don't want to waste it. Oh, my goodness. These sound so fun.
Oh, yeah.
So fun. Let's head on up to the area so we can find these little people, because they sound beautiful.
So, despite having a terrifying reputation, they are not invincible by any means. And according to the Shoshone and Bannock lore, the tribes banded together to wage war against the Nimerigar due to the relentless attacks and atrocities that were committed by the tiny warriors.
Well, thank God for that, I guess. Did they defeat them?
Yes.
Thank gosh.
So, in the end, the tribes were said to have proven to be too powerful for the little people, and had defeated them, quote, once and for all.
Good, then, because they didn't sound like they were the type of things we needed running around in the world.
Now, here's the issue with that once and for all bit. So, while the Nimerigar are considered to be mythical, there was a pretty interesting find that led people to second guess whether they exist or not.
Okay.
So, in 1932, a pair of gold prospectors, while working in the San Pedro Mountains of Wyoming, happened upon a very strange item. It was a tiny mummified body that measured approximately 14 inches in length, or 35 centimeters.
So, very small then.
Yeah.
About a foot, thereabouts.
So, the miniature mummy was found in a seated position, and it had a wrinkled, leathery face that resembled that of an old man. Its teeth were described as being overly pointy and sharp.
Oh gosh.
And some researchers believed that it could be the remains of a Nimerigar. So the truth behind the mummified remains does still remain a mystery.
Oh, that's creepy.
Because shortly after its discovery, it disappeared. So, yeah.
That's
the mummy
creepy.
just disappeared.
That's creepy.
No one knows what happened to it.
Crazy.
Some say it was stolen, while others think it may have been secretly reburied by the Native American tribes, who would have viewed it as a sacred artifact, which is a valid assumption.
Yeah, I mean...
But the fact that we don't know
what it is, that is kind of... It's just kind of creepy. It would have been cool.
We don't know what it is or what happened to it. It just vanished.
That almost makes you think that they found something that was legitimate and somebody didn't want the people to know.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a cover-up. That makes it almost like a conspiracy thing, you know, so that it makes it even creepier and makes you wonder, you know, what was it? What was this little mummy? Was this actually one of these little vicious people?
Well, it very
maybe
well
not,
be.
You know, vicious people, but you know what I'm saying.
A Nimerigar.
Right.
It very well could be.
That's creepy. That's crazy. That would have been cool to actually have been able, if they could have done some kind of like, you know, CAT scan, MRI type thing,
and
something. Oh, God.
Another thing, this isn't exactly unbelievable either. Mm-hmm. It could have just been a tribe of little people.
It could have been. I mean, we don't know. I mean, they were supposed to be, you know, smaller people back in those days. Now, I'm not saying they were supposed to be that small per se, but I mean, we don't know that there weren't.
It doesn't even have to have been like normal humans. It could have just been like a sub-branch of the human species.
It could have been. I mean, you know, it could have been something off of, you know, we went to be, you know,
just
like
a different
humans,
evolution.
And they went to be, you know, like a different type of human.
Yeah,
right.
Very possible.
Who's to say? I mean, we don't know. There's lots of things in this world we don't know.
And also, to be fair, the same thing can be said about a lot of cryptids, that they could just be like sub-branches of different animal species.
It
or
could
their own
be.
species that we just haven't really discovered or classified yet.
It could be, or I mean, it could be a lot of things. It could be even prehistoric creatures that just survived somehow and stayed hidden. Who knows?
So,
but anyway.
Speaking of historic creatures that may have survived, moving on to Illinois, we have the Piasa, or Piasa, the bird that devours men.
Oh, that sounds good.
So, in 1673, French explorers were making their way down the Mississippi River, and as they had passed some bluffs near what is now Alton, Illinois, they noticed a massive painting on the rock face. So, it depicted a fearsome dragon-like creature, and this creature had horns, scales, and a long beard.
Okay.
It is said to have the body of a serpent, the head of a man, and the talons of an eagle.
Okay.
It's a chimera.
Sorta. Sounds like it, doesn't it?
So, the definition of
anyway.
chimera is just a creature... This is an exact definition, obviously. I don't have it pulled up. But a chimera is just a creature that it seems to be made up of different parts of other creatures.
More or less. I mean, that's it. I mean,
like the Greek chimera was a lion. I think it also had a scorpion tail.
Yeah,
and a few,
something like
like
that.
wings and stuff like that.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
So, this is just a chimera. Which,
basically,
as I've stated before, I absolutely love chimeras. One of my favorite types of creatures. So, anyways, The local tribe had referred to it as the Piasa or Piasa, which roughly translated to the bird that devours men. And according to legends, it was described as being a bloodthirsty demon that would swoop down from the skies and snatch villagers.
Oh my gosh!
It would then carry them back to its cave and consume them.
Well, he sounds
Pleasant.
so pleasant, so nice, so wonderful. It's like a pet, almost.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Who wouldn't just want a domesticated chimera thing?
Who wouldn't? With a man oh god, it's creepy when they have human faces. I don't know why.
It's the uncanny valley thing.
I guess it's because you expect them to be able to talk and stuff, and then they have this weird animal body. I don't know. It's creepy to think of, but anyway.
Very much so. So, for many years, the community had been terrified of the fearsome creature. However, one day, a courageous chief decided to put a stop to its reign of fear, and he and his warriors concealed themselves near the monster's den, and when it emerged in search of its next prey, they launched a surprise attack, killing it with a barrage of poisoned arrows.
Well, I guess that's one way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So, hey. So much for him, huh?
Yeah.
As he sound like a winner. I mean, you know.
Then again, this was only one instance. Could have very well been more.
Right. Right. I mean, exactly. I'm assuming it's... Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's supposed to be like Dracula, like just the one person, or vampires in general. Like, if that's what it means. Like, there's a whole bunch of them, or it's just the one. I don't know. But anyway, whatever. They killed the one, supposedly.
The one that we are aware of.
The one that we're aware of.
The one of the story.
There we go.
So, moving on is the Enfield Horror, the three-legged terror.
Oh my goodness.
So, on April 25th of 1973, a young boy named Greg Garrett was playing out in his backyard.
Mm-hmm.
He suddenly caught a glimpse of a creature that he would later describe as being roughly 4.5 feet tall, with gray skin, short claws, and glowing pink eyes.
Pink eyes? Now that's unusual.
Usually they're red.
Red or green or yellow.
Or even black in some cases.
Yeah.
Like just pitch black.
Yeah, but you don't hear a lot of pink.
And one other detail, probably its most distinguishing, it had 3 legs.
Now that's odd too.
Very much so.
But
not
again,
many creatures have 3 legs.
No, not 3. Unless it had some sort of accident and lost a leg. But anyway.
That's possible. Anyways, the creature had then attacked Greg, tearing his shirt before he was able to get away and flee back into his home.
Oh my gosh.
And the weirdness of this encounter doesn't end there, however, as Henry McDaniel, the Garrett's neighbor, described his own run-in with the odd beast.
Okay.
McDaniel told police that he had heard a scratching sound at his front door, and he states that when he went to investigate, he says he saw a creature standing on his porch, and he described it as having a short body, 2 little arms that came out of its breast area, and 2 pink eyes as big as flashlights, and 3 legs.
What? That is crazy sounding.
That is a very interesting description.
That's some big eyes too. As big as flashlights. I mean, even just a small flashlight. That's some big eyeballs.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but okay.
So McDaniel did what any normal person would likely do if confronted by a weird creature such as this. He ran inside for a weapon immediately, and in his case, a gun. He said he then fired several shots at the creature, which then let out a hissing sound like a wildcat, before it then jumped from the porch and fled into the night in a series of gigantic leaps. He claimed that it could clear 50 feet, or roughly 15 meters, in a single bound.
Good God!
Yeah.
That's some jumping now.
Yep.
I mean, each time just to do it, that's crazy.
That is very powerful jumping
That
force.
is some very powerful legs. Yeah, launching that sounds like a kangaroo or something.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, actually, it does kind of sound like a kangaroo, and you make me think that the 3 leg, it might be its tail, maybe malformed tail. It'll look like a leg.
Possibly.
But I don't know. Anyway.
So, here's the even weirder thing that makes it get very creepy. Investigators had discovered some weird six-toed footprints in McDaniel's yard.
Again with 6-toe. Well, they
Yeah.
found them this time, though. They didn't wash away.
So, in the days that followed the initial sighting of the strange creature, more and more sightings came pouring in around Enfield. A local radio station had even claimed to have recorded the beast's eerie screeching cries, and the town was soon overrun with monster hunters and curiosity seekers, all of which were eager to get a glimpse of the newly dubbed Enfield Horror. So, there's a wide range of theories regarding the nature of this creature, spanning from those that are quite plausible to those that are completely and utterly bizarre.
I can imagine.
Some believe it to be a deformed kangaroo that had escaped from a circus or zoo.
Well, that's kind of what it sounds like. I mean, just making you think jumping, I don't know, about 50 feet, but,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can think of just right off that would, bound a good distance and be around that height and everything.
Yeah. So, while others thought it might be a previously unknown species of marsupial or primate,
Possible.
some even claimed that it was an alien creature brought to Earth by UFOs.
That's what it was. Did they come out of the ocean?
100%, it had to be. Well, I don't know. It said it was brought by UFOs.
They're supposed to be in the ocean, so yeah. Maybe it came out of the ocean.
That's possible.
God
Anything's
knows.
possible. So,
I don't know. I mean, that does sound like a kangaroo. I mean, it does. Just sounds like maybe 3 legs. It makes me think maybe the tail was malformed or something, and it just kind of maybe they thought it was a leg and didn't look like a tail.
Realistically, that is very possible, yeah.
I mean, how many things do you know? I mean, like rabbits and stuff, sure they hop, but yeah, you're not going to mistake a rabbit for something that's like an average rabbit. It's not going to be 4 feet tall. Now, I know there's some of those
absolutely
big rabbits, that are really, really big, but they're not probably running around in the wild, so to speak,
No.
like in Illinois. Well, I mean, kangaroos wouldn't be either necessarily, but
Yeah.
a zoo or circus, sure. Or maybe
That's
even
possible.
somebody had it, at their house that wasn't supposed to have it, and it got away or something. That's a
That
possibility.
definitely wouldn't be unheard of.
No, just have it, kind of hidden away like out in a barn or something, and it got away or whatever, and then they just didn't say anything because they weren't supposed to have it, so there it goes. Just out causing terror in the neighborhood. It sounds like attacking kids while they're out playing. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the only attack that we've heard of, but it does make you wonder.
It really does.
But, what are you gonna do?
So, that's going to be it for my list this week. I will now turn it over to the Belle so she can tell you about hers.
We will be continuing on talking about some more of the more haunted places and goings-on in the U.S. We hope you'll join us. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And don't forget to stay disturbed.